9:30.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo from OceanCity.com. And we got a great show for you this week. All sorts of fun stuff. It was a long weekend for me. It was my birthday weekend, and I was at the Good Beer Festival, and that's almost all I remember about that. Actually, I got some photos and some blogs up about it, and I'll give those a bump later. But before we get to me, let's get to you. What have you been up to last week? I followed you on Twitter and on Facebook, yet I know nothing of your last week.
Yeah, it took a little bit of a hiatus, and in that hiatus from social media, I realized I didn't get to wish you a happy birthday. So, because how would we know when anybody's birthday is if it wasn't for Facebook telling us? So
I've never, I don't know if I've never, but I haven't. I made it a policy several years ago to stop doing that, so I don't say happy birthday to people on Facebook.
Yeah, I try to get a response out to everybody who sends something to me, but I'm terrible about sending people.
I click on like, and that's fair. And if somebody says something that they clearly thought about, then I'll say like, thanks. But you know,
well, and I try to say something unique to every person.
My wife does that. My wife does it. This day in history, she picks out like the weirdest things she can find from this day, which that takes more effort than I'm willing to.
Right. Especially, well, it's funny we talk about this because actually I decided to take a little bit of a hiatus from social media. Obviously, what we do, it involves social media quite a bit. But my reasoning was to become try to get a little bit more focused on work. Got some projects that we're getting through, and also to try to be a better communicator. Which is, I don't know, maybe seems counterintuitive by removing yourself from a form of communication so as to become a better communicator. I don't know. I think I've seen a couple things about social media and that it's all very topical. So it's not very, you don't get into deep stuff or, not that everything has to be deep, but you get meaningful things that you remember and long-term stuff and that sort of thing. And we had some pretty big milestones family-wise this week. And the other part of the ease of me taking a break from social media is because Natalie is still very much connected. So I still get, oh, look, so-and-so's baby was born,
Right.
So I still have all of that, which is good. But yeah, I think that it's helped, turning off your notifications if you're looking to get a little bit of a break, and or another tip if I'm giving tips to get a little bit more focus or a little break from social media. Only look at things that are specifically targeted to you, like a comment. I don't care. So if so-and-so liked a post from before, that's great. It doesn't matter. It's already put out there. But if somebody's making a comment that I was tagged in, maybe I'll look at the comments at the end of the day, which is what happened. Because we had a lot of comments because we had some big events.
And believe it or not, that's actually how I use social media. I use all social media is like Twitter. I put stuff out, and if you directly say something to me, I will look at it. But like, if I've got to be drunk or bored to do anything else. And I think that one of the advantages that I have and hope to continue to have is I do social media in chunks because I also I make stuff, right? I have to write. You're the same way. And one of the things that you might try to do if you want to kind of take is like I turn off when I'm working. I will turn off social media. So like if you're editing,
yes.
Turn it off so you're not like edit, yes, edit, no, you edit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I do things, and sometimes I'll miss out on stuff, especially like with the newspaper. If like a day like today, Tuesdays are my least social media days because, today I'm putting together my last newspaper, but generally it was the day I was putting together the newspaper, and I'm so focused and busy doing that I very rarely have time to do anything. I'll take a break at, when I'm eating, maybe I'll look at Facebook a little bit, but it's something when you're involved in doing stuff, you're not as always involved as in commenting on stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because we've had the discussion about Natalie and I. You know, I call myself a creative professional. Maybe I am. But you know, when like getting into that editing side of things, it definitely takes. You know, you kind of you gotta circle the drain a little bit.
Yeah.
And then once you get going, you know, you're there for a good while. But yeah, it's you know, it's part of what we do. And I did post. I figure instead of making a bunch of posts during the week, we just talk about it for a half hour every day, so you can just tune in and or listen to it later. And that's just as good.
And that's one of the things that we did a little bit on this week with the Starify, and hopefully going forward we'll do more of that. Is maybe put it together a little bit better so that, you know, and we can pick and choose. And I'd like to get it to a point where people can say, well, I would like to hear about this, and then we can do that. So again, hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get more interactive that way, and you know, and then we can talk about it. Like we like, because you're only hearing half of the conversation. I do the same thing. I'll talk about things with my wife during the week. I'll bounce off like this, and sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, oh, that would be fun to talk about on the Todcast, you know, and so that way when I get here, you know, except when I forget what I'm talking about, I'm looking at my hands. They're weird. I'm not stoned. It's just like the hands, man. But when we get to the Todcast, I have everything kind of nailed down. I've chewed it up enough that I'm ready to spit it out.
Right. That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. Hey, well, and then so congratulations for putting together your last newspaper in the history of the world today.
Very exciting about that. Very excited about that. I'm not going to miss it. It's the least favorite part of my job, and it's one of the things that will always make me employable. I mean, for the rest of my life, because fewer people know how to do it. You know, it's a dying art. Similarly, there's a position in the hotel business called the night auditor, and he or she really just counts up the money for the day, counts up the receipts, make sure what you said you made is what you took in, balance the books a little bit, check people in, deal with drunks and hookers and maniacs. But it's the overnight shift, and it's an unpleasant job, so not a lot of people do it. So if you get good at that, they always say you can remain employed. And those are the two things. Like when I moved here, one thing I said is, well, I can do the night audit, so I'll always be employed. I mean, I might not always want to be alive, but you know, between being one of the last 700 people on the planet who knows how to put together a newspaper and who knows how to do the night audit, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I don't think I have any employable skills.
It's tough, and that's the thing is not so much whether or not you have employable skills, whether you're an employable person, so much as whether you can be good at what you're doing. And that's the other thing. I don't want to you know, shit too much on the job that I'm leaving, but one of the things I felt like was going on there is like, this is the kind of job where you actually devalue yourself every minute you're there. You know, it's like, oh, now like this is like a resume stain. It's like worse than being like, I'd rather put fired for stealing at some point, because it feels like a lot of my colleagues are there, and the reason they stay is they're not certain they can get other work.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm too arrogant. You know, of course I can get other work. People just don't recognize my genius yet. So all I have to do is impress upon them. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, very, very much looking forward to starting in Ocean City next week, going to the mountains for a quick weekend getaway with the missus for our honeymoon, our 7th honeymoon or whatever. What's it called? Not
anniversary?
Yeah. We didn't talk much about it, so I didn't have that chewed and spit out. But yeah, going for the anniversary this weekend, and then being cut loose on the internet.
Yeah. So, you know, we talk a little bit about content and content marketing. I call myself a content marketer more than I do like a filmmaker or something like that.
Right.
Even though I have cool equipment that's, you know, props behind me. But I came across this article in light of your new position, being a content marketer for oceancity.com. I pulled it up. I don't know. It's a nice Contently article. It's about 10 content marketing buzzwords that will make you want to go live with bears. And I was just going to run through a couple and see if those are things that you use or what your thoughts might be on them, because you tend to have interesting thoughts on things of this nature, and especially anything that contains the word buzz in the title.
Yeah.
The number one is thought leadership, and I must say that I'm guilty of using this as a term, as a buzzword.
Yeah, no, never have. It's very George Orwell.
Yeah,
very newspeak, thought leadership.
I call Natalie a thought leader when I guess when you're putting your thoughts down on Facebook as a post, and then the local newspaper picks up on that and makes a story out of it. I mean, that could be thought leadership, right?
Yeah, it can be, but first of all, there are better words. I love impresario, maven. Those are two great words that don't sound like George Orwell made them up.
All right, how about
I like to think of myself as a maven.
I like impresario because that definitely has that has it kind of goes with my mustache.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
My mustache. I'll have to tell you about that a little bit later. All right, here's words that I don't use. People-based marketing. Have you ever used that?
I don't know if I've even ever heard that. I don't think I know anyone, fortunately, who talks like that.
Yeah. And how about gamification? Gamification, like trying to make an educational something.
I am very aware of gamification. I've not used it, but I've been subjected to it. When I was I was working in the nonprofit sector. If you ever want to never donate another fucking nickel to anybody, spend 2 years in the nonprofit sector. Holy crud. But anyway, one of the things we were trying to do is gamify this and gamify that. And the thing is, if you gamify, like Untapped is gamification, Foursquare. When you check into something, you get a little badge and bing, 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 bing. Yeah. I hate the word. I hate the concept. The reason I hate the concept and the word is because games should be fun. And I get that. And I'm not saying that games shouldn't be used in a way to get people engaged. It's fun. I mean, I do it. I've done it. I will continue to do it. But to gamify it just makes me feel dirty.
Right.
It makes me feel like I'm preying upon someone's need to do something fun or someone's disposition to do something fun.
Right.
And I think
it has a ring of sort of being inauthentic. Yeah, games are meant to be fun. Absolutely. I'm going to trick you into learning. I'm like, I don't want to be tricked, lady.
How about you just teach me in a way that's engaging?
Right. And then we play a game, that reinforces that maybe. But
But to turn something to gamify is to take something that is not a game and make it a game for the purpose of making it a game, not for the purpose of learning. And that's why I think gamification is too heavy-handed on the game part, not heavy-handed enough on the engagement part.
Right. I think Vacation Bible School ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to 6 years of Catholic school, and Vacation Bible School was always just, it's like, just beat it into me like the Catholics do.
Yeah, right. I actually did both as well. I went to 12 years of Catholic school and to about 8 years of Vacation Bible School because my mother taught Vacation Bible School for the Protestant Dutch Lutheran or whatever she was.
Yeah. All right, here's another one. Newsjacking. That's I've never heard the phrase before, but it sounds like a very like hack.
Newsjacking.
Hack. Newsjacking.
Oh, I don't even know. What does that mean? Aggregating someone's news and get you wrong?
Yeah. That's sort of that's sort of an odd one.
Again, I think the people who say that also wear the kind of suits I would never wear.
like striped suits, like NFL Sunday.
Yeah, I think very, very much. I think they spend more on their cologne than I spend on my mortgage.
And there's really just last one that I wanted to throw at you to see if you've ever even heard of this, but contentification. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. And I feel like if I were ever to add a tification to something, that just, that is resoundingly douchebaggery.
It really is douchebaggery. Well done, right? I did one today. Bumper stickery. Like have some fun. There are words out there. And that's what it is. It's people who aren't creative showing off their lack of creativity by pretending to be creative.
Right.
And showing it off to people who don't get it. Like yes, now let's contentify. I don't even know what that means. How can you contentify something? It's either there or it's not.
Right.
I mean, I guess you can contentify your emotions, but some people just call that fiction.
It strikes me as something that, you're the social media or the content marketing manager in a roundtable discussion at your business, and they're talking about something completely irrelevant to you, and you want to show your relevance by mentioning, oh, we could make that contentification.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We've got to find a way to contentify our mission statement. That's how it was used. It just came to me like an epiphany. Yeah. That's how it was used. This is our mission statement, but how do we contentify that? That's not the first time anyone's ever said that sentence.
Yeah. And probably in a CEO or manager's meeting.
Yeah. Third guy down.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, that was depressing.
So
let's not use those.
Yeah, so we'll make sure.
I don't want to be too shitty on the thought leader thing, because we talked about that already. And we may have talked about that 2 or 3 years ago though. So we were thought leaders.
Yeah, I think thought leader, makes sense as a noun, whereas thought leadership as an adjective.
There you go. That's fine.
Is that a little different? Does that make sense?
I would again go with impresario.
I'm definitely going with impresario. In fact, I'm going to change that to my job description.
Instead of defender of brand, impresario. Put it on your business cards. That would be awesome. The next time I get business cards, I'm just going to put Tony Russo, impresario. And then you flip it over and it's got my goofy email. You know what? So my email address and my website and all of those things are my name backwards. And I can't tell you the ratio between how clever I thought it was and how no one ever gets it is mind-boggling to me and embarrassing. Like, because I'm all in on the OSSURYNOT. It's too late.
Right.
By the time I discover that nobody got it at all, I'd already kind of committed. So I just got to live with it. And sometimes I'll say it's my name forward and my name backward, and people are like, "Oh yeah, is that what that is? I thought you were doing something weird." I'm like, "Yeah, I did do something weird in 1996, 1994, whatever. When I signed up for AOL, I said my name backwards because Tony Russo was already taken, and yeah."
Now you should change it to Tony Russo, Mr. Ocean City.
Oh, I don't know. You weren't. I did. Oh, you were off on social. You were off social media this week. Tom Melville, you'll remember Tom Melville.
Sure.
He said that Ocean City already has a king, and it's Leighton Moore. He suggested the Pope of Ocean City, which I like so much better. How about a Pope?
The Pope, the Pontificus.
Well, and this is the thing, and it's actually a really great analogy. And I'm going to sound like I'm making fun here, and I'm making fun a little bit, but mostly this is true. So the story of St. Francis, of Pope Francis, Uncle Frankie, Frankie the Pope. The story of Frankie the Pope goes like this. He was actually kind of a hardliner type dude, as the legend goes, not radically different from the guy who just quit.
Right.
And the word is that when they made him Pope, it occurred to him that he had a different calling than he thought he had, and he was going to have to, the responsibility made him learn to love Catholicism in a different way.
Right. Right.
You see where we're going with this, right?
So in this analogy, Ocean City is Catholicism.
Ocean City, and my wife will verify this. Not that anyone cares but you, but every year or so we go down there in the summertime for something and I walk down the boardwalk and I'm like, you know what? It's usually like in May or June. We'll go down and I'll say, you know what? This is the year I'm going to embrace the boardwalk. I'm going to embrace it. I'm just going to, because there's so much cool stuff to write about here. I just have to get past this knee-jerk reaction that I created by myself, not pretending I didn't.
Right.
And then it lasts like 45 minutes. I'm like, nah. Seems like a lot of work.
This is way too much work.
But now that it's my job to do, I think that I know that I'll be able to at least pretend to choke it back. You know, it's no worse. You know what? Last night I was at a Delmar town meeting, probably one of the last Delmar town meetings I'll ever cover. And there were these two people there, and they wanted to have a anti-heroin candlelight thing.
Oh,
I thought you were
going to say gamification.
Huh? Yeah. They wanted to contentify their opposition to heroin addiction. And so how to contentify it was the question. And they said, well, let's have a candlelight vigil. And the mayor and council are like, okay, sure, absolutely. When? And they're like, oh, well, we're not sure. And like, well, where? We're like, well, you know, we thought you'd tell us. And then they spent the next 45 minutes talking about the scourge of heroin addiction.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to, like, if it were any other topic, I could stand up and say, why are we talking about this? And I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've interrupted lots of meetings and said, this is stupid. Let's move on. You know, you don't have a parliamentarian, I'll be it. Let's move on. You're talking about something stupid. But you can't say that when they're talking about, my kid died of heroin, my kid's in jail. Like, yes, I know, they're heartbreaking stories. And I get it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. And the Mets are on in 15 minutes. And it's, again, right, any other night, it wouldn't even bother me. But I'm like, if I miss the first pitch because I have to hear how your son is doing time for heroin and you don't want any other son, I'm going to have to kill you. I'll be in jail next to him, and then I'll kill him. So that part of my life is over. And if I ever have to choke down something that's unpleasant in Ocean City, I can always just say to myself, you're not at the town of Delmar council meeting, you know.
Although it may feel like you're at the overnight audit shift dealing with drunks, hookers, and crazies. But
yeah, but I mean, again, I'm gonna live that. I'm gonna breathe that. I'm gonna embrace that. I'm going to do. I think I may have discussed this off air with you, but I'm hoping to do some sort of rip off of the people of New York. People of New York.
Oh yeah.
Humans of New York.
Humans of New York, right?
I think I'm going to do some sort of rip off with that on the boardwalk. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You know, there's picture story.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. Without having to spend 3 days putting a newspaper together and planning a newspaper, like go out, take a picture, put it on the internet, go out, take a picture. I could do that. Yeah, all day.
Yeah.
I can do 15 in one day and then spend the next 2 days home in my underwear eating Cheetos and typing it up. You know, that'll be great for my waistline. So let's get a couple things. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about your homecoming. You're not your personal homecoming, your daughter's homecoming. Yeah. Very striking in the red dress, and that was a wonderful photo of her. And I was like, I knew it was Berlin, and I knew where it was, and it took me. There were several pictures. It's the third one I saw. I'm like, oh, that's like literally in front of their house.
Yeah,
it's very picturesque.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's fun. We have this church down at the end of the street, and of course, our street is one of the originals. It hasn't been paved over. Although it's a mess right now, but it's got, it's like concrete oyster shells and that sort of thing. And it's I don't know, it's become like the spot where we did a first day of school picture there, and we've done we did a Christmas card years ago. But yeah, so Nellie, our daughter, is in high school and went to the homecoming dance. I was happy that she went with, just a group of girls. Because she's only a freshman, and it's funny. I think she had some reservations or some expectations, sort of lower expectations of what to expect, which is what expectations are. But to contentify this, you know, it was the realization that high school kids are just, you know, balls of hormones, and they don't know how to dance. And I think that's a real shame. And I kind of, so interestingly, a couple days later, we've gotten in the habit of taking in a couple, you know, kind of popcorn movies, and we watched Magic Mike XXL,
Oh, really?
which is funny because the first one I recognized, and I knew Steve Soderbergh, which is a well-known director, actually did that one, and it had some visual things that were very Soderbergh-esque. This one was directed by some other no name, and had some weird things in it. I was kind of looking at it shot for shot, and that's how in this house how we watch a lot of things, and I've probably spoiled many a movie for my kids. But you know, the first movie was whatever, about a male stripper, and you know, and then there was like a love story intertwined. And this one was basically just, hey, this is the reunion tour. We're gonna have a couple of great dance scenes, and that's and that's that. And it was just very, you know, popcorny, but it was great. I mean, those guys know how to dance completely uniquely. You're not going to go find a stripper anywhere in America, male or female, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't done the research. that can move like, you know, that has, you know, choreographed routines like that, and the spectacle and all of that. Mostly because, you know, a lot of that is even done with camera angles and that sort of thing. But it's kind of like, you know what? You should figure out how to dance and do some dancing, as opposed to being a high schooler going to the homecoming dance where all they do is stand back to back and rub all over each other, and, you know, in a terrible, you know, fashion.
Well, back in my day, did you guys have dancing in gym class?
We did not.
Oh, that's one of the they taught us, like maybe a month's worth of gym. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I can dance. I mean, I can't dance by myself at all. But look at me. Do I look like I dance by myself? Am I rerun? No, I'm not the white rerun. But I square danced, and I waltz danced, and salsa. Maybe they like for gym class we danced, which was really convenient because I guess not everybody does that. It's not something they do.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. I'm trying to get my wife to take dancing lessons, and we're probably too young, but I don't care. I've got to say, I'm jealous. My brother took dancing lessons before with his girlfriend, who became his wife, and they just, you know, they don't show off anymore. They showed off when they were in their 20s, but they don't show off anymore. But they still, like, they can enjoy dancing, you know.
Yeah.
And my poor wife can't, because she's like, I'm used to leading. I'm like,
yeah. Well, I do. I mean, and actually, the Globe up here in Berlin has done some like swing dancing thing, and
yeah, Michael Day's big into that.
Yeah, you know, I think that sort of stuff is great, and you know, it takes a little bit of maturity, I guess, to find the fun in that. But yeah, the taking dance lessons prior to weddings is a big deal, and actually, you see a lot of like choreographed dances, you know, like sort of the flash mob mentality, like even from the groomsmen and that sort of thing. You know, more and more people are doing that. We just need to find the younger kids to get them on board.
Got to get them. Well, my daughters all can dance. I danced with my kids all since they were very little. We've always danced. We dance in the kitchen. I forget that not everybody, that this is maybe not common, but again, it was something that we did, you know, my just growing up, you know, you just grab someone and dance. And I mean, you know, I feel weird about it now, but yeah, no. So we'll put on records and we'll dance. And I've always enjoyed dancing in the kitchen. I will hold someone and dance. I won't dance by myself unless I'm trying to embarrass my daughters. And that,
yeah,
is his face, huh? If anybody can embarrass the hell out of a teenage girl with this dancing,
You are the impresario when it comes to embarrassing.
Central casting.
Central casting. Yeah. So the good news is that Nelly was on board with my thought on that, and I think maybe that's something that we'll do more of, is learning to dance.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. You know what? If she were interested, she probably could arrange to have someone come in and do like a dance class at the school. That could be like I don't know, dance club that they do. Well, they have a billion clubs. It's Stephen Decatur, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a billion clubs, 1,000,001. No one would even notice.
Yeah. I don't think that's the point of having a club, is that so that no one would even notice. But
we could do like a footloose kind of thing where they get a barn way out in the middle of nowhere and they go and dance where no one can see them.
Right. But it's kind of like the opposite of Footloose.
The parents are encouraging them, like, here, you have this barn, go dance.
Right.
Yeah, no, but you should dance. If you haven't danced with your daughter often, you should make a point of it. It's a lot of fun, and your wife, they find that romantical.
Yeah.
So romantical is a word. It's an older word, and I use it. There are 3 words that I used recently that my wife's like, that no one uses those words anymore. No one's used those words since the 1730s. So hopefully when I get out and meet some people, I'll learn how you guys talk in the 21st century here. I feel like I should wear like an Abe Lincoln hat. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna get ready to call it a day, call it a time, call it a show. Stay tuned for lots more fun stuff. Next week will probably be on this format, and hopefully the week after we will put out the new Todcast. But for now, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Coffee Hour.
Coffee Hour.
Cheers.